Now, I know, just through talking with you and so on, and you talked about your father wheeling the engine and, you 18-year-old kid riding with your father. And myself, I'm a legacy also.
Sure.
I have family in the fire business and so on. And what am I? I'm second generation and so on. But I know how important it is to me, and I'm sure it's very important to you, your family and so on. You want to touch on, just the legacy that your family has laid before you and what you've done and so on?
Sure, absolutely. My dad was a volunteer fireman. He came out of the Army from Korea in 1957, and they had a spot waiting for him on engine number 1 in Pagoda. That's where he grew up,
right.
And he was born in Hackensack, and that was in 1957. And strangely enough, the first major fire he went to was in Hackensack in 1958. Right? There was the Comfort Coal fire in Hackensack. It burned a city block.
Wow.
And it was an arson fire set by some kids on the 5th of July, 1958. And it was one of the, if not the biggest fire ever in Hackensack, that burned a square city block.
Okay.
Between Anderson and Passaic, from the railroad tracks to Linden Street, and then caught houses on fire on the other side of Linden Street. And Pagoda sent 2 engines to the fire. And, he was at that fire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
And so he was, my dad he had been in and out for residency reasons a couple times. But in the end, he did about 35, 37 years on the Pagoda Fire Department. He was chief down there in 1977. Nice. Again, times were different. And,
sure, I was born in 77.
A lot of history. And, they told them, it was funny, if they had one thing I can remember, if they used air cylinders, they only used them when they had to use them, because they didn't have a fill system. They had to call in a vendor to fill the systems after a fire, to fill the cylinders after a fire. Yeah. And if they had a few cylinders, they could take them up to Teaneck, and they would fill them for them. But if they had a lot of cylinders, they had to call a vendor, and they had no way to fill them. And that was as late as 1977. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, and then my grandfather on my mother's side was a fireman who went on to be chief of department in the Hackensack Fire Department.
Cool.
He went on the Hackensack Fire Department in 1941. He volunteered for the draft in 1942 and served as an infantryman in World War II in Europe in the Army. Wow. And he came back, obviously, to his job and moved up the ladder and became chief of department in 1964.
Wow.
And then he died in 1971. He was 54 years old. Wow. And he got ill and passed away before he could retire.
Oh, is that okay?
Yes, you had to be 55 at those times to retire.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So and then your father, yourself, your son.
Correct. My brother first, and I'll just speak. My brother, please. My younger brother, Kenneth, is or known as Louis, is also a deputy chief in the Hackensack Fire Department.
That's pretty wild.
And he's the Tor 4 deputy. I'm the Tor 3 deputy.
Yeah.
And he's just closing in on 29 years on the Hackensack Fire Department, and he's I want to say he's over a 30-year member of the Pagoda Fire Department still, and was 2-time chief of department there. Wow. And then awesome. And then my son, my oldest son, Christopher, former Marine, actually, and current Marine reservist, works for the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Bureau of Fire. Mm-hmm. And he's actually there tonight on the squad.
Nice. And how long has he been out in Harrisburg?
A little over about a year and a half.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So he's fairly new.
Yes, fairly new
to the job out there. Mm-hmm. Wow. Good for him. You must be one proud papa.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's very cool.
Absolutely. And to continue the family tradition,
yeah.
And in a well-respected department, that's very good.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So that's my family history.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Ridley from National Fire Radio. Thanks for tuning in. Catch up with us on social media. We got
SoundCloud, National Fire Radio, YouTube, National Fire Radio, Instagram,
National Fire Radio, and
At least
Facebook, National Fire Radio. Guys, check us out. Take care. Be safe.